Sometimes the funniest people are the saddest people. That's because we as humans, we generally have this tendency to run to defense mechanisms to help us cope with distressing situations. But for this set of people, telling jokes become their default trauma response because they just use that to try to hide different layers of emotional baggages that they don't want to address. Now, this will stop them, not just slow them down, but this will stop them from getting to the point where they actually heal and overcome those issues they are trying to hide. In this video, I'll be sharing with you 5 signs you can consider to know if you're being funny is simply a trauma response and there's some things you are hiding that you need to address as soon as possible. The first sign is even the most obvious reason, and this is when you're using jokes to shield yourself from feeling your emotions. Probably you're going through a very stressful situation at work. You lost your job, for instance, and you know that if you sit down with the fact of what has happened, it's going to get you sad. You went through a breakup. You know that if you actually sit down and try to think about what you have lost and what you want and the future that you have missed out on, it's going to be a very painful situation. So to avoid all that feelings, you just begin to tell jokes. You try to even turn that situation into a joke, try to sound funny and all of that. But you know that what you are truly avoiding is just that moment of honesty where you sit with yourself and unpack the actual feeling that you are going through. What this does is just to push you away from the situation, and it works at the beginning because now, unlike other people who have a major breakdown after their breakup, you are fine, you are happy. But it becomes unhealthy because after a while, you begin to lose touch of your actual emotions. You just get to a point where you cannot feel anymore. This is why you can see people who are the funniest, and all of a sudden they'll just go from being funny to committing suicide because over the years of trying to max their actual feelings with being funny, they are not addressing the issues that should be addressed, so they are dying within. So while you might employ a joke at the beginning just to get through with things, you should actually have a time where you sit down and explore what you are feeling and actually move on from it. Because if you suppress it, you cover it, the pain is still in your heart. You are covering it with the joke, but your heart is still broken. That's the first sign. Your humor is also a trauma response when you try to use it as a way to gain control of the environment and make yourself comfortable. This one usually starts very early. Maybe you grew up in a home where all the adults around you, whenever they are angry or uncomfortable or they are just silent, like it signals danger and you know that something is wrong. My dad is going to beat me today. Now that he's angry and all of that. So you know that the only way that I can be at peace, the only way I can be comfortable is when everybody around me is laughing. So you grow up with that same mindset that every time you are with people, you are trying to make other people laugh because when you see everybody laughing, that's when you are assured that I am safe in this place. Nobody's angry with me. Nobody's going to come and make me feel as if I'm not good enough. So your joke is just a form of manipulation to keep people at peace with you. The problem with this is that you are taking on the responsibility of controlling everyone's feelings, which is not even your responsibility. So now you are focused on making everybody happy except yourself. Because in doing all of this, it is very draining. You don't like it. If you are going to be honest with yourself, you don't like being in this situation. But because whenever you see someone sad around you, whenever you see someone angry, whether you are the one who made them angry or not, you still feel it is your responsibility to fix their feelings. But that can become manipulation. You are not allowing honest human interaction. If someone is angry, allow them to be angry. Anger is part of human life. If someone is sad, allow them to be sad. And just sit still with how everything is working. You don't always have to be in control of the situation around you. Your humor is also a trauma response when you use it to avoid rejection. Now, this is a situation where you believe that no one can like you for who you are. And if you don't do things to earn their love, if you don't do things to earn them wanting to spend time with you, they are not going to spend time with you. So, and one easy way to make people like you is to just tell jokes. So you're telling jokes to make yourself more likable. Now, every human wants to be likable, but this one is fueled out of a fear of abandonment. You are constantly trying to get people on your side because you feel that if you are not doing that, they are going to abandon you. Of course, we can trace this to the experiences you had in your childhood. Probably your parents were inconsistent or your caregivers were inconsistent with the care that they give you. or you constantly have to do so much work for them to show you their benevolence and their care. So you're bringing this into your adulthood. But it is not serving you at this point any longer. If you are going to try to change this, you can start with one person and say, with this particular person, I'm not going to let our relationship to be based on performance. I'm going to be as honest and authentic with them. I'm going to show them my true self. That is, if I'm feeling bad, I'll tell them I'm feeling bad. If I'm happy, I will tell them I'm happy. If I don't like what they did, I'll tell them I don't like what they did. If I don't want to do something, I'll tell them I don't want to do it. And I will just watch how the situation goes. I will see if they actually like me for who I am. And the more comfortable you get doing this with this one person, then you can even transfer it to other people and begin to expand in that. The fourth sign is when you intentionally try to share your pain with humor. So now, this one, unlike people who are trying to run from what you're feeling, this one you actually want to share with people what you're feeling. But instead of just telling them I am feeling this, you now try to disguise it as a joke. So it's not unusual to find a funny person telling the story of how his mom hit his head on the wall while he was 5 years old, and he said it in a very funny way that everybody is laughing. But that is a cry for help. But because it is packaged in a funny way, everybody thinks it's just a joke and he has gotten over it. But they go back home feeling greatly misunderstood because they were actually trying to communicate that they need help and they need sympathy, but they are not just bold enough to say it. Now, the reason why you might fall into this category is if during your childhood, whenever you are trying to express your feelings, they tell you things like stop being dramatic, like are you the only one that's feeling pain and all of that. So you have this need of expressing your emotion, but over the years the feedback you have gotten from expressing your emotion is that you are too much. So you now find a milder way to express your emotions. But that is not being helpful because people don't also see through you in this situation and know that you need help. They just think you are fine. So if you actually want to connect with people, you have to intentionally tone down the jokes and look for someone that you can be open to. Now, the last and ultimate sign that your jokes are a trauma response is when after every intense moment of telling jokes, you go back into a feeling of loneliness. You go back into a feeling of being unnoticed, like nobody truly gets me. One core idea I want to pass to you through this video is that whenever you are caught up in a state of perpetual performance, you will never be happy. You will never have fulfillment. I think it's time for you to give yourself the chance to actually be a human. You are not as strong as you are trying to show, and that is just fine. Every other person is not strong too, and they are not pretending to be that strong. But now that your life has been so caged in a facade of jokes, everybody thinks you are strong, and nobody is coming to help you. Now, if you are going to work on this, you need to go on an exercise of awareness. So, whenever you tell a joke and everybody is laughing, pause and ask yourself, okay, did I do this because I actually had something funny to say, or did I do this out of performance for any of these reasons above? If you discover that it's for performance, there's no judgment, no need to beat yourself. But the more you try to be aware of this situation, even if the awareness comes after you have done it, the more likely you are to trigger your awareness before you do it, and you can call yourself to order that, okay, no, this joke I want to tell, I don't really need to tell the joke. There's actually something else I want. What I want is connection, and you can go for what you actually want. Then secondly, you need to intentionally practice honesty. Lack of honesty does not only manifest like when you steal something and you say you didn't steal it. Lack of honesty also comes when you don't relate to people the way you actually want to relate with them. If you want someone to understand you, you are being an honest person when you take the step and approach them and talk to them like someone who wants to be understood. Because you have spent all your life being funny, you have worked on this skill, it's something you have. Now you don't have to discard that. Instead, you begin to use it as a tool for connection, not a tool for performance. Not trying to impress people, not trying to bring them on your side. To wrap up this video, I would like to ask you a light trivia question. Will you rather date a partner who falls to the extreme of telling jokes always and they use jokes to cover all your feelings, or will you rather date a partner who tells you all their feelings and they never tell jokes? Which will you prefer?